She's an underground idol who started to smell success because of her butt, and talking about not bathing, she even became the representative of the bath cancellation community. Her name makes her sound like some sort of background character, but she's definitely an idol you're not going to forget. That's for sure. This is going to be interesting. In this episode of Otaku Files, we talk about Suzuki MOB. Most of us outside of Japan may not be aware of some of the more interesting personalities within the Japanese otaku landscape, so I thought I'd do a little video series and try to shed some light on these individuals. This is Otaku Files. Besides their reputation of being polite and respectful, something else which Japanese people are often associated with is cleanliness. And of course, as many would know, they do have a strong bathing culture. I myself love Japan's onsens, so it might surprise you to know that there are actually a number of people in Japan who actually hate taking baths. These people are a part of the Furo Kyanseru Kaiwai, or the bath cancellation community, and in this video we're going to be talking about their so-called representative, an underground idol named Suzuki MOB. No clean and fresh idols here, thank you. Believe it or not though, there are actually a surprising number of idols in Japan that actually don't like taking baths. But it's not exactly a good idea for them to talk about that publicly, which obviously makes Suzuki MOB, or Mobupi as she's also known as, a bit special. Although she does have a particular reason for wanting to brand herself in this way, something we'll get into in just a bit. Mobupi is from Osaka and was exposed to the otaku side of things from a very young age, as her parents ran an anison cafe in what is known as Osaka's Akihabara, Nipponbashi, while she was in elementary school, her father apparently being a big otaku into Gundam and tokusatsu. Anison is essentially a genre. It's a catch-all term for anime songs, so an anison cafe is a place where you can enjoy listening to or even singing anime songs while having a drink. So Mobupi grew up with those anime songs always playing in the background, and during weekends she would be in the office located on the second floor where she would spend the day watching anime. She was practically raised as an otaku. Parenting 101. Just to be clear though, her father never actually forced her to watch anime. Mobupi also loved being on the small stage within the cafe and singing anime songs herself. It helps access a completely different part of her. But around that time, at least in Osaka, Mobupi explains that otaku was still viewed as kind of gross, so she apparently didn't have the best time at school and hated going. She also just wasn't the social type. Her mother was pretty understanding though, and once or twice a month would actually allow Mobupi not to go to school. Now this hatred of school also connects to her hatred of taking baths. Her parents would often tell her that because she had school the next day, she needed to take a bath. Because of that, Mobupi would associate the act of taking a bath with needing to go to school. So when she didn't need to go to school or was on school break, she just wouldn't bathe, as her parents would still be working. Unfortunately, her parents would change businesses around the time she was in middle school, but Mobupi would still sing anime songs whenever she had the opportunity up until high school, although she would start hiding the fact that she loved anime. Once in uni, she would get back to singing anime songs, and that includes participating in various open tournaments. Now, to keep a long story short, thanks to one of those events, she would be scouted as a starting member for an idol group. One of the co-founders looking to start that group was actually a former comedian named Matsumura Ippei. The idol group would come to be known as Nippon Wachacha. Mobupi wasn't actually interested in becoming an idol though, but to convince her, she was told the direction of the group would be so that their songs would even be used for anime. Well, the group's concept eventually turned into more of a comedy-based idol group, and they never did end up doing any anime songs. I mean, the boss was a former comedian, so yeah. But being an idol really helped Mobupi interact with others and made her feel like she could finally be herself. In regards to her name, Mobu is actually a term for a background or supporting character, and even though she'd say it meant she was a supporting character and the fans are the quote-unquote main characters, the actual reason is because she really liked Mob Psycho 100. Nippon Wachacha's strategy was kind of unique. The members were essentially made to become YouTubers and were each given a MacBook so that they could edit videos. There was a valid reason for this though. The group debuted in March 2020, which which yes, was around the start of the pandemic. Nippon Wachacha was also originally going to be called Nippon no Wirusu, or the virus of Japan. This would be changed a few months later. However, as many would know, myself included, it's not exactly easy to be successful on YouTube. Regardless of putting out content on almost a daily basis, that sub count would barely pass even 300. What changed for them was actually thanks to a video of a particular concert they did at a beach. The video was taken from a low angle, which revealed a lot. I'm not going to go into this, but taking shots from a low angle is apparently quite a thing here in Japan. Also, Mobupi wasn't really aware of it, but she happened to have a large ass set, which seemed to work in her favor. Anyway, the video generated a lot of views, and as a result, the group's sub count would also go up, so Mobupi decided not to request the video to be taken down. Thinking that this was a sign that the group were on the right track to success, they set a goal of performing at the Budokan within the next 3 years. If they failed, they would disband. Now, Mobupi was still in her 3rd year of uni around that time, and even though she had another year left, she convinced Ippei there wouldn't be enough time if they waited for her to graduate and that they needed to go to Tokyo as soon as possible. And they did go, full of energy with a strong ambition, only to find themselves with no one in the audience. Even within the open tournaments they joined, they were just met with the cold shoulder. No one was interested in this comedy-centric idol group, and Nippon Wachacha learned that they didn't actually create the base that they needed, and decided once more to put in their efforts into making YouTube videos. But then, it happened again. The event at the beach was actually a yearly thing, and once again a low angle video ended up going viral thanks to Mobupi's ass set. This ended up happening 3 years in a row, but Mobupi wasn't happy. It wasn't that she was against doing low angle videos, but despite putting all her effort into making videos, she just could never beat her own ass set. The Budokan in 3 years goal though would never be accomplished. It was looking pretty bad, but the group asked their fans to let them continue for another year, which of course wasn't a problem. But Mobupi had enough of relying on her ass set, and was also aware that if Nippon Wachacha relied too much on sexualized content, that they wouldn't even be allowed to perform at the Budokan in the first place. Just so you know though, the group would eventually manage to accomplish their goal of performing at the Budokan. Now, as I just mentioned, Mobupi was tired of people knowing her for her ass set, but in 2024, she would finally get her chance to be branded something else, as someone who doesn't bathe. I guess that's an improvement? As I talked about earlier, Mobupi's hate of taking baths started back in elementary school, and even after graduating, would only take baths when she had to meet someone or as an idol had to perform. Oh, and apparently friends and family didn't really matter. This was something she was clearly not hiding, having spoken about not bathing on both her own channel and also Nippon Wachacha's channel. But this in itself is not what would catch the attention of the public. On April 30th, 2024, a Twitter user would tweet about hating to take a bath so much that they decided to try out dry shampoo. This tweet would get thousands of likes and a ton of replies. Although there were some negative responses too, many could empathize, and some even shared tips on how to avoid taking a bath. Within the replies, some even declared that they too were a part of the Furo Kyansaru Kaiwai, or bath cancellation community, and that is how the term came to be. I should point out though, there are people who have a really hard time taking a bath because of mental health related issues and not just because they can't be bothered. Anyway, the term would start trending on Twitter, which would catch the attention of the press. This also includes the producers of Abema Prime, an internet-based news TV show. Apparently, they discovered one of Mobupi's videos where she talked about not bathing and decided to invite her to come on as a guest that very same day. Despite it being a last-minute thing, she spoke pretty well about the disadvantages of taking a bath, and surprisingly there was someone else on the show who could understand where she was coming from. In any case, Mobupi's appearance on Abema Prime really did help brand her as the quote-unquote representative of the Furo Kyansaru Kaiwai, and we would see her appear in a lot more different media as a result of that association. I should mention though, Mobupi claims she doesn't sweat much, and there was even a video where they used an odor sensor to measure how badly the Nippon Wachacha girls smelled, and the result was that the others smelled worse than she did. Well, there you go. A lot of things changed for Mobupi over the next couple of years. Before Nippon Wacha-cha's performance at the Budokan, Mobupi announced that's where she would be graduating. Simply put, she wanted to go a different direction from the group and wanted to challenge herself a lot more. After her graduation, she would join a different idol group called Kirameki Anforento. Not only that though, she became the boss of a talent agency called MMG Japan. Wow. Also, some bonus info, she provided the vocals for Ingrid's theme song Senzai Teki Uchu Kibo Bishoujo. Turns out she's a huge fan of Street Fighter 6. That's pretty awesome. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'll be honest, I totally understand where she's coming from. Back in the day, there were days where I just didn't shower if I was on holiday, but unfortunately I don't think I have the benefit of not stinking like Mobupi. How about yourself? Be brave and let us know in the comment section below, along with any suggestions for future videos. Thanks again, guys. Till next time, take care. Peace.